This Sunday we hear from the book of wisdom that God did not create death, nor does he delight in the death of the living. Which raises the question, okay, well, if God didn't create it, where did it come from? Well, the book of wisdom goes on to explain through the envy of the devil, death entered the world, right? Through sin, death entered the world. And, I think from a secular perspective, sometimes this will raise a question for people, well, God should have known what was going to happen. Well, God did know what was going to happen. And what he realized as he thinks through his plan for our lives and plan for creation, that, it could be even better if on the other side of the consequences of sin, on the other side of death, God brought his people back together with him to be with him forever in eternity, in heavenly eternal life. So God allows this, hiccup to happen, but he brings about something even greater from it: eternal life with him in heaven, being united to God in heaven. So as we get to the gospel reading today, we hear of the raising of Jairus' daughter and the healing of the hemorrhaging woman. And on the surface, we've got, these 2 points that really play into this greater plan that God brings about for our life on earth. On the one hand, the raising of the dead, right? And on the other, eternal healing. So, with the raising of Jairus' daughter, in a way, it's a promise to all of us that we will be raised up by God on the other side of death. Now, with the hemorrhaging woman, we connect these two things. There's a reason why these stories belong together, because it isn't just the raising from the dead, but the healing of the condition that leads to death. And that's just, being a part of a sinful world, sinning ourselves, whatever it is. The healing portion is just as important as the raising from the dead. So these two things belong together and really speak to God's plan to redeem us from the effects of sin in the world. And so if we take all of these readings together, we get back to the heart of creation and recognize that, the original intention of God was not that we would, suffer the things that we suffer and suffer death. But because sin entered the world, God regroups and provides an eternal remedy for the consequences to sin. And we see Jesus expressing the desire of God to bring about that remedy, right? As Jesus ministers to Jairus and his family, raising Jairus' daughter, and to the hemorrhaging woman, we see these two pieces come together: the raising of the dead and the healing of the illness that leads to death in the first place. So we turn our hearts to trust deeper in the greatness of God's plan, even when we don't fully understand it. We know that he's bringing about a remedy, and he's active in the world, healing and raising. And ultimately, on the other side of death is that eternal healing for which we so long.